So I make it 12 o'clock, so we're going to make a start. Really, really warm welcome to all of you who are joining the class today. It's absolutely wonderful to have so many of you joining us. So as I was saying, some of you might be joining as part of the LBC Home Retreat, which started last night with an opening ceremony. So this yoga session is going to... Well, we're going to focus particularly on yoga for meditation, because if you have signed up to our home retreat, then there'll be quite a lot of opportunities to meditate throughout the week. And I'll just say a couple of things about that, and then we'll get moving. So yoga is, among other things, a really wonderful way to prepare yourself for meditation. And in fact, historically, that was the purpose of yoga, was to prepare the body to be able to sit for long periods of time. And I think there are two main ways that yoga can be used as a really wonderful way to prepare you for meditation. So the first way is just physically, to help you feel more open, to help you feel stronger, and just a little bit more, to find a little bit more ease in your physical body. So some of the postures that we do today will focus on opening up the front of the hips, opening up the shoulders, things like that. And then the other main way I think that yoga, the physical aspect of yoga, can help to prepare us for meditation is by helping us to find ways to anchor our awareness in the body and in the breath. So then when we come to sit in meditation, it's almost like a continuation of that anchoring, but in a slightly more subtle way. So in a way, we're training ourselves to feel into our bodies, feel into the body, feel into sensation, and feel into breath. So I could say a lot about ways that we can sit in meditation, different postures, and in a way it's sort of outside the scope of this class. In a way, I could probably talk for the full 45 minutes about posture, and I'm not going to do that. But I will just say that finding a comfortable posture for meditation is really important, because if all you can think about is the fact that you're in meditation and your foot's gone to sleep, then it will probably just take over the meditation and make it a not very pleasant experience. There's just a couple of really, really small things that I think are worth mentioning. So I'll just say a little bit, and then we'll do a short sit. We'll practice, and then we'll sit again at the end of the class. So I think it's quite important that if you're sitting on the ground, to have some kind of height underneath your seat. So I've got blocks, but you probably don't have yoga blocks. You can use any kind of cushion, or I've got a blanket over there. You can use a rolled up blanket. And really, it's just important to feel like the lower body is supported. Yeah? So a lot of people find that if they sit with crossed legs, their knees are sort of hovering sort of above their hips. And this isn't really advisable. It can create quite a lot of tension in the front of the hips. So it's worth just trying out a couple of different ways of sitting. So what you can also do, and what I prefer to do, is sit astride my cushions or my blocks. And I try to make sure that my knees are more or less in line with my hips, so they're not sort of splayed out to the side like that. And then what I quite often do is just, if I'm kneeling down, I roll out the flesh of the calves, and then I get a bit more sort of bone-to-bone contact between the upper and lower legs. And then you can just sort of lengthen the skin of the ankles as well. And this doesn't work for everybody, so you might need to just play around cross-legged, kneeling, play around with different heights, of your support. And quite a lot of it is to do with the pelvis, and we're just going to find ways to connect in with the pelvis as we move through the practice. But for now, just finding a comfortable seat that you can sit in for just a minute or so. And you can allow the hands to rest in your lap. You can place one on top of the other or have hands on the knees. And then just going ahead and closing your eyes. And in whatever position you've chosen, just start to anchor your awareness down into the sitting bones. So they're two sort of bony ends at the base of the pelvis. So one on the left side, one on the right side. You might just want to rock a little bit forwards and back if you don't know what I mean. Just rock a little bit forwards and back and see if you can find these two bony points right at the base of the spine and out to the side. And then have a sense of rooting the sitting bones down, and then just begin to rise up a little bit. It's like you're getting a little bit taller. And then lengthening out through the crown of the head. And just let the shoulders relax. And start to become aware of the breath in the body. Without trying to control the breath, to change the breath, just noticing the in-breath and the out-breath. And see if you can use the out-breath, the exhalation, to soften any areas of tension that might be becoming apparent in the body. Perhaps through the thighs, through the belly, the face. Now we're just going to introduce a little bit of a swaying movement. It'll be quite subtle. So as you breathe in, just lean forward so the chest will come slightly forwards towards the knees, and you'll feel the tailbone sort of flare back slightly. And then as you breathe out, you do the opposite. So just lean back and feel that the belly is drawing in towards the back of the spine. And then again, so breathing in, just lean forwards and feel that the ribs sort of draw forwards. And then breathe out, do the opposite. So you'll feel the spine sort of round. And then continue, but have the hands on your hips. So as you breathe in, just lean forwards. And as you breathe out, lean back. And notice how your hip bones will draw slightly up towards your lower ribs as you lean back. And then one more time. So breathing in, leaning forwards. And you'll feel the hip bones sort of draw down and in towards the body. And then one more time, breathing out. So you'll feel the pelvis sort of rock, tilt back. And then find yourself into a neutral spine for a moment. So somewhere between those two places. Good. And then release your hands. We'll meet on hands and knees. And if you need padding under your knees, then you can take a blanket or fold up your mat underneath them. And then we're going to find that same action here on hands and knees. So as you breathe in, lift the tailbone up, drop the belly, look forward. And as you breathe out, round the tailbone down, press the floor away, relax the head. So again, breathing in, lifting the tailbone, dropping the belly, look forward. And then breathing out, it's like the tailbone is tucking under as you round the back. So just take a few more of those in your own time with your own breath and notice how the movement initiates at the pelvis and then travels up the spine. So you can think of it like a wave, like a wave of movement. Traveling up the spine. Good. And then find your way into a fairly neutral spine. And then just look at your hands, make sure they're around shoulder width apart, spread the fingers out as wide as you can. And then straighten the arms, fully tuck your toes, and lift your hips up and back. So you come into a downward facing dog. Press the hands forwards and down as you lift the hips up and back. So you're making your body into a kind of inverted V shape. And then just begin to pedal out your feet. So you're bending into one knee and then the other. And all the while, you're trying to find more length through the spine, like your spine is a telescope and it's sort of sliding out. It's getting longer and longer. And the head is just softening, relaxing down. Back of the neck is nice and long. Good. And then see if you can find stillness. So start to stretch your heels down and back. Keep pressing the hands forwards and down. Keep lifting the sitting bones. But just let go of the pedaling of the feet. Really feel that contact between the hands and the feet and the ground. Good. And then from there, we're going to come into a low level lunge. So just looking forwards. Bring your knees to the ground and then step your right foot through to between your hands. Untuck the back toes, lift the chest, then pull your hips ever so slightly back and then really root down through that back foot. Reach your arms up over your head as you press the top of your left foot down into the ground. And then bend your elbows out to the sides so you make like cactus arms. And then draw the elbows slightly further apart. Take a breath. And then we're going to take eagle arms. So you're going to hook your right elbow on top of your left. So some of you might be able to get the forearms together. You might even be able to double wrap and press the hands together. Yeah, and if that's not accessible, then just take a hold of your shoulders. Yeah. Good. And then from here, if you've got the wrap of the arms, the double wrap, tilt your arms a little bit towards the right hand side. And then drop your left ear towards your left shoulder. So your fingertips are going one way and your ear is going the other way, your left ear. Breathe into the right side of your neck. Good. And then gently release and take your hands down to the ground. Tuck your back toes under and press back into that downward facing dog, that inverted V shape. And just take a moment to check in. Notice the sensation between your left and right side. So I can feel that quite strongly in the front of my left hip. I can feel that that's been stretched. Good. And then let's take the second side. So big step forwards with the left foot. Right knee comes down to the ground. Untuck your toes. Lift the chest. And instead of letting the hips sag forwards, draw them back. Root down through the top of your back foot. Lift the front of the hip slightly up. And then lift your arms up over the head. So you feel really long. So right from the hips all the way up to the fingertips, reaching up. Good. And then take the elbows out wide. Broaden across the front of the chest. Good. And then let's hook the left elbow on top of the right. Press the top elbow down into the bottom elbow. And then do the opposite. So press the bottom elbow up into the top elbow. Maybe double wrap of the hands. Good. And then for that next stretch, so you're going to tilt the fingertips a little bit towards the left. And then drop your right ear towards your right shoulder. And you might feel a bit of a neck stretch there. Good. And then look forwards, release, lift your arms, and then take the hands down to the ground and draw back into a downward facing dog from there. Spread the fingers out wide. Good. And then from there, pull forwards. We're going to find a plank position from there. So shoulders over wrists. Draw the belly in. Send the tailbone down towards your heels. So your body's in a pretty straight line here. Try not to stick your bum out or let your hips sag down. And then you're going to take the knees to the floor and then slowly lower everything to the ground. So keep the hands under the shoulders, untuck your toes, and then lift up your chest just a little bit. So you come into a low cobra. The hands are very light on the ground here. Press into the tops of your feet. Take a couple of breaths. Good, and then slowly lower down, tuck your toes, and draw back into a downward facing dog from there. Again, anchoring your awareness in your feet and your hands. And try to keep the gaze quite steady to between your feet, or maybe even somewhere along the legs, the thighs or the shins. Good, and then we'll take one more low-level lunge with a shoulder opener. So step your right foot forwards, back knee comes down. Good. Lift your arms up over the head, and this time bend your left elbow. So your right knee is forwards, and your left elbow is bent. And then take your right arm out to the right side, and then bend the right elbow and try and catch your left fingertips behind your back. And if you can't quite catch the fingertips, then you can just hold onto your shirt. And then try to lift the top elbow up. You press the top of the back foot down. Good, and then gently release. Hands come down. Downward facing dog from there. Spread the fingers out wide. Good, and then we'll take the second side from there. So left foot steps forwards, right knee comes down to the ground, untuck your toes. Lift your arms up over the head. Good, and then bend your right elbow this time. So the right elbow is pointing straight up towards the ceiling. Left arm out to the side, comes down, and then twists sort of up your back. And then maybe the fingertips clasp, or maybe you're holding onto your shirt. And keep lifting that top elbow up. Keep pressing the top of that back foot down. Keep breathing. Good, and then gently release. Hands come down to the ground. Draw back into downward facing dog from there. Spread your fingers wide, lift your hips. Good. And then again, pull forwards, coming into a plank pose. Press the floor away. And then slowly the knees come down. Lower down with control, so the chest comes forwards as you come down. Untuck your toes. Lifting the chest, coming into a cobra pose. Collarbones, broad shoulders back and down. Elbows in. Good. And then back through all fours, tuck toes, lift hips. Downward facing dog. Okay, and just one more of these. We're going to do a lizard lunge from here. So I'd like you to step your right foot to the outside of your right hand. So it's quite a wide stance, and then turn your toes, your right toes, a little bit out to the right. So they might even come off your mat. And then press your left hand down into the ground, and then come into an open twist. So reach your right arm up towards the ceiling, and then lean back. So open out. Big open twist. Take a breath in there. And then as you breathe out, right shoulder to the inside of your right knee, right hand to the ground. And then again, left hand presses down, inhaling, right arm reaches up, open twist. And then exhaling, right shoulder inside right knee. Good. And then one more time. Breathing in, open out, and breathing out. Right hand down. Good. And then keep the right hand down. Step back, downward facing dog, and then we'll do the second side. So looking forwards, left foot steps forwards to the outside of your left hand. So it's a big, long stance. Let the hips soften forwards, but keep that back leg really buoyant, really strong. So right hand presses down. Inhale, the left arm reaches up, and then open out into that twist. Open twist. And then exhale to close it down. Left hand comes down inside left foot. Press the right hand down. Inhale, left arm up. And then exhale to close it down. Last one, breathing in. Lift up, look up. And breathing out. Good. Step back to downward facing dog from there. And then look forwards and step to the front of the mat. So you come into a forward fold, feet around hip distance apart. Bend your knees, relax your head. Take a hold of your elbows if you like and just rock a little bit from side to side. Good. And then with soft knees, start to roll up to standing. The head is really heavy. The head is going to come up last. Good. And then when you get there, take the hands onto your hips. So as you were rolling up, you probably felt like the spine was quite round and the tailbone was sort of tucking under slightly. So just remember what that felt like and then see if you can do the opposite. So keep the hands on your hips, but start to send the tailbone back behind you a little bit. Fronts of the hips rock forward. Yeah, and then do the opposite. So rounding the back. And then extending the spine. So the fronts of the hips will rock forwards. The back of the pelvis lifts up. Just take that a couple more times. So it's quite an important thing to be aware of, that your pelvis, your hips, they move in this way. So when you're sitting in meditation, well, we can come back to that at the end. Okay, then keep the hands on your hips, but straighten the spine a little bit more. Take a breath. And then as you breathe out, fold forwards and try and hinge from your hips. So feel the hips sort of folding forwards as you come down. And then look forwards, straighten the spine a little bit more. And then step your right foot back, take the right knee down to the ground, untuck your toes. Just for a breath, sweep the arms up, pull the hips slightly back. And then exhale, take the hands down to the ground. And step into downward facing dog from there. Spread the fingers wide. And then bring your feet together. And see if you can lift your right leg up and back behind you. Drive your left heel down and back. Good. And then start to bend your right knee and allow the right hip to open out to the right side. Lift the right knee up. A couple of breaths. Lean into it. Lovely. And then look forwards from there. And go ahead and step the right foot through to between your hands. You might need to help it along its way. Back knee stays lifted. Come up into a high lunge from there. So circle the arms up. Good. And then a little bit of detail from here. So start to bend your back knee until it almost touches the ground. Take the hands onto your hips. And then again, lift the front of the hips up. And it's almost like you're trying to draw the belly in. You're like almost rounding the spine. And then from there, see if you can keep that, really engage that back thigh. And then start to straighten the back leg. Really, really nice. Okay, left hand reaches down towards the ground. Right arm reaches up towards the, no, sorry, other way around. So right hand reaches down, left arm reaches up. And then you're going to start to lean over towards your right hand side. Back leg is really straight. Good. And then lean forwards a little bit. Bend your left elbow and see if you can hook the left elbow outside your right thigh. And if this is too much, back knee can come down to the ground. Right hand presses into left, twisted lunge. Couple of breaths here. Really firm through that back thigh. Rotate the chest around towards the ceiling. Are you breathing? Good, and then look down. Hands come down to the ground. Step the left foot forwards. Come into a forward fold. Take the hands onto your hips. Soften your knees and roll up to standing. So feel the front of the hip bones sort of tucking up towards the lower ribs as you come up. Keep the hands on your hips. Straighten the spine. Take a breath. Good, and then as you breathe out, folding forwards. Straighten the spine as you come down. Lengthen the spine. Fingertips down. Good. Look up, lift up halfway as you breathe in. And then as you breathe out, step your left foot back. Take the left knee down to the ground. Untuck your toes. Lift your arms as you breathe in. Press the feet down. Good. And then as you breathe out, hands come down. Downward facing dog from there. Spread the fingers wide. And then again, bring your feet together. And then reach your left leg up and back. Three-legged dog. Heavy through the right heel. And then bending your left knee. Lift the left knee up and allow the hips to turn open, or the left hip to turn open to the left. Keep pressing both hands down into the ground. Lovely. And then looking forwards, step left foot through to between your hands. Keep the right knee lifted. Come up into a high lunge. Lift your arms up. Good. And then from there, you're going to bend the back knee. And it's going to go straight down until it hovers off the ground. Hands come onto your hips. Again, lift the front of the hips slightly up. Lengthen the lower, the sacrum, the back of the pelvis down towards the ground. So you'll probably start to feel quite a big stretch down the front of your right thigh. Engage the back of your right leg. And then slowly start to straighten the right leg, but keep everything else as it is. Good. And then left fingertips reach down towards the ground. Right arm reaches up. And then start to lean over towards the left. Try to keep breathing. And then lean forwards about 45 degrees. Back leg really straight. Hook the right elbow outside your left thigh. Palms together in front of the chest. Good. Back knee can lower down. That's a really good option. Rotate the chest around towards the left. The gaze can follow. Are you breathing? Good. And then look down. Fingertips come down. Step forwards from there. Forward fold. Good. And then from here, bend your knees. And sit down like you're sitting in a chair. Lift your arms up. So Utkatasana, chair pose. So here again for a moment, take the hands back onto your hips. And you can have a little play even here with seeing if you can sort of tuck the tailbone under and then do the opposite. So lift the tailbone up, front of the hips pull down. Just do that a couple of times. So there's not a whole lot of movement there, but if you get it, it's quite subtle, but it's quite important. And then see if you can find somewhere between those two extremes, as it were, of the tucking and the flaring. So somewhere between those two. And then lift your arms up again. Feel whatever it is you're feeling through the legs, the belly. Good. And then come down into a forward fold. Soften the knees for a moment, well done. You can sway a little bit side to side. Okay, and then we're going to do that one more time, and we'll take it into a balancing posture. We actually did this one a few weeks ago, but I thought it would be quite appropriate for this sequence. So we're going to come into a figure 4 stretch. I'd like you to bring your feet together, bend your knees again, sit low, and this time bring the hands together in front of the chest. Shift your weight into your right foot and bring your left knee up into your chest. Flex the left foot and then hook the left ankle over your right thigh. So left knee is going out towards the left, and then try and sit down a little bit lower, and it's like your tailbone's going back, 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 like you're sitting in the very back of a chair behind you. Good, you can stay here or take your left fingertips down to the ground and hold your right foot with your right hand, or hook it with your elbow if you've got the range. Good. Keep lengthening out through the spine. Lovely. And then to come back up, see if you can take the hands back together in front of the chest. And then step the feet together. Just come up to standing for a moment. Take the hands onto your hips. Close your eyes. Feel your breath. Okay. And then second side. So hands together in front of the chest. Come into chair pose, feet together. Shift the weight into the left foot. Right knee comes into chest. Flex your right foot. And then hook right ankle over left knee. And then see if you can sit down and back a little bit more with the hips. Lovely. And then stay as you are, or right fingertips come down to the ground, or onto some support. You can use a chair, or when I was practicing earlier, I was using a radiator in front of me. Good. And then your left hand can either hold your right foot, or you can hook the right foot with your left elbow. And then sink down a little bit more into the posture. But keep your right foot active. Lovely. And then see if you can come out, palms together, both feet down. Come up to standing, hands on your hips, close your eyes. Feel the breath. Good, and then just release the arms down alongside you for a moment. And just see if you can have a sense of that inner alignment. So with your eyes closed. So you've got the head stacked on top of the middle of the pelvis, stacked on top of the legs, stacked on top of the feet. So see if you can imagine that long center line, the midline of the body. Good. And then when you're ready, just open your eyes. Circle the arms up as you breathe in. Look up. And then exhale to bow forwards. Take the fingertips down towards the ground. And take a halfway lift so you feel the spine lengthening away from the pelvis. And then soften all the way down. And step your way back into a downward facing dog from there. And then rock forwards high onto the tiptoes. Take the knees down to the ground. And then lower all the way down. Untuck your toes. Take the hands a little bit back so they're about in line with your mid-ribs. Press the hands down. If you've got quite tight shoulders, then you can rotate the hands outwards a little bit more so the little fingers spin out and back. Try and draw the elbows in. And then coming up to a slightly higher cobra. So press the hands down, but try not to let the shoulders shrug up towards the ears. So try to keep softening the shoulders down and back. Think of sliding the shoulder blades towards one another, towards the spine. In the back body, your legs, your glutes are on. Lift the chest. Good. And then slowly, slowly lowering all the way down to the ground. Make a pillow of your palms. And just shake the hips a little bit from side to side. Okay, and then we're going to have one more back bend. I'll give you two options. So option one is to take a bound locust pose. So your legs will stay long. You're going to interlace your fingers, lift your chest, and then lift up your legs, any amount. Yeah, so that's the first option. The second option is to take bow pose, Dhanurasana. So you'll bend your knees, reach back, catch your ankles, and then lift the shins up, press the shins back, lift the thighs, lift the chest. So coming into whichever variation of the posture, if you haven't already. Just observing the breath. About 3 more breaths here. Good, and then gently coming down. Make a pillow of the palms. And again, just shaking the hips out from side to side a couple of times. Just taking a slightly slower, slightly deeper breath. Good. And then from there, take the hands underneath your shoulders and press back into a child's pose from here. So take the knees about as wide as your mat, big toes together, hips soften down. You can place a cushion underneath your hips as well if you like. And then reaching the arms forwards, forehead comes down to the ground. Or you can make a pillow of your palms. Or even put one fist on top of the other. So the intention here is to be able to relax into the posture. And just feel the spine rounding, feel the heaviness of the pelvis and the head. And just feel the breath. So you might be able to feel the beating of the heart. There might be some sensations that are slightly vying for your attention. So not everybody finds this a tremendously comfortable posture. So making any little adjustments that you need to, definitely no sort of pinching around the joints, but if there's anything that just feels sort of interesting, maybe a little bit uncomfortable, then perhaps you can stay with that just for a moment longer. Or alternatively, if there's anywhere that feels particularly pleasant, then you might like to just draw that to your attention. Just noticing sensations, noticing breath. Good. And then when you're ready, just coming up to a seated position. And we'll take a few minutes in meditation. So if you've got cushions or blocks handy, I'm going to use cushions actually, then just go ahead and get them for yourself now. And yeah, like I was saying, do feel free to experiment. If you're new to meditation, experiment with different postures. Sitting cross-legged, kneeling. You might even want to try sitting in a chair. But what I'd like to say, just related to what we were exploring in the class, and it's just about the positioning of the pelvis. So if you just take your hands onto your hips, see if you can find that same action of rocking backwards and forwards a couple of times. So you can just feel that the hips are rotating forwards and back. So what sometimes happens in meditation is that we lean forwards a bit too much, and then your spine sort of curves up, and then you get lower back pain. Yeah? Or the opposite, and we round the other way too much, and then the shoulders sort of pull forwards, and you get sort of shoulder pain. Okay? So what we want to find is somewhere where we can sort of comfortably soften back into our seat, yeah, but without rounding too much, and without rocking forwards too much. And the rocking forwards too much can also happen if you're sitting up too high. So I'm using 2 cushions. They're quite thick, but yeah, you just want to find somewhere where you don't feel like you're overly rocking forwards or backwards over your pelvis. So you might want to just close your eyes. We'll just sit for a couple of minutes. I'm going to read you something from a sutta, a Buddhist text on mindfulness meditation. So just finding yourself in a comfortable seat, allowing the eyes to close. Just seeing if you can connect in with the alignment of the body here. So enough softness to support yourself, enough softness for the posture to be easeful. And enough steadiness, alertness for you to feel awake and attentive. And how, monks, does a monk abide contemplating the body as a body? Here a monk, gone to the forest or to the root of a tree or to an empty hut, sits down, having folded his legs crosswise, set his body erect, and established mindfulness in front of him. Ever mindful he breathes in, ever mindful he breathes out. So if you're comfortable here and you wish to continue sitting the last moment of the practice, then you can stay as you are. If you'd like to end with a short period of lying down, then just make your way down onto your back. Wherever you are, just seeing if you can just connect in with the subtle energy of the body. So just noticing whether there are any sensations that are particularly apparent in your awareness. It's a feeling of contact between your body and whatever is supporting it. And also just noticing if there's Anywhere that feels particularly alive in the body. So perhaps there are sensations in the palms of the hands or in the feet, vibration, hum. Just tuning into the aliveness of the body. And if you can stay longer in your relaxation or meditation, then please feel free. But if it's time to move on, then just starting to ease your way up from the ground. If you're sitting, then just preparing to open the eyes. So as ever, we're grateful to everybody who tunes into these classes. I hope you will have a wonderful week on retreat if you're signed up. And hopefully some of that was useful or helpful. If you've got any other questions, do let us know in the comments. A posture or anything else. And if you've not signed up to the retreat yet and you would like to, then you can sign up via the link in the description of this video. Yeah, and lastly, as many of you are aware, so our centre is closed to the public. So not just the London Buddhist Centre, but also our retreat centre in Suffolk, which is normally very vibrant and full of people all the time. And it's fantastic that we're able to offer this home retreat to you guys. But we are, as ever, really, really dependent on donations and very, very grateful for everything that you can give. So there's a link to our Just Giving page underneath this video